What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzly homer, Memphis X, and I talk hoops. Today's video, we are talking about Memphis' own Kennedy Chandler, and we are going to do a little review of how his summer league went with the Grizzlies. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
KeyAno.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so sit your all up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Demarest back and let's go.
Chandler, of course, was not one of my most favorite prospects, especially for the Grizzlies. Now, it's not that I didn't like him as a prospect. I just did not want another small guard on the Memphis Grizzlies. So, when I wanted to think about an eventual replacement to Tyus Jones as Ja Morant's backup, I wanted someone that was more capable of playing next to Ja Morant as far as a third guard, like being able to play with Ja and with Desmond Bane at the same time. But that was thinking about Kennedy Chandler as a first-round pick. The Memphis Grizzlies got Kennedy Chandler with the 38th pick in the 2022 NBA draft. So it kind of mitigated some of the issues that I had with drafting Kennedy Chandler. So let's get into what Kennedy Chandler did this summer. Now, in Utah, Kennedy Chandler pretty much started off with having a pretty decent run in Utah. He had played 22.3 minutes per game, averaged 10 points, shot 44.4% from the field, 40% from three-point line, 100% from the free throw line, had 2.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 turnovers, 3 steals, 1.5 blocks, and 2 fouls per game. Now, Kennedy Chandler, the first thing that sticks out when you watch Kennedy Chandler play, and I think he does provide something that the Grizzlies don't have outside of Ja Morant. He is able to get into the paint whenever he wants. Now, the only issue is, what is he going to do when he gets there? His finishing isn't terrible, especially even when he matched up against NBA level competition for the first time. His finishing wasn't terrible, but it needs some improvement. That is the one thing that if he is able to get his finishing down right, and if he's able to get the, Grizzlies point guard patented floater game down right, I think he is going to be a terror off the bench for the Memphis Grizzlies eventually. Now, the great thing about the Memphis Grizzlies at this point, at least for the first 2 seasons, we don't have to worry about having to depend on him having to be a productive player early in his career. At least as long as we don't have any real bad injuries, we don't have to depend on him being a productive player early in his career. He can come in and get his reps in with the Memphis Hustle in South Haven. But I think the one thing that was concerning to people was his shooting, and we're going to talk about that, especially when we get to the Vegas portion, because of course he was making shots in Utah, so it really wasn't an issue. He looked pretty good. He looked at what you can expect as a teenage point guard meeting NBA level competition for the first time. Now, in Vegas is where he really struggled with his shooting and his finishing. Like I said before in other videos, the Las Vegas Summer League is where the whole league is. So there's more height, more athleticism, more length, more quickness around the perimeter, and just a general increase in talent level because, of course, there's more teams. So he kind of struggled with his shot, but he did not struggle with his distribution. He averaged 24.6 minutes, 9 points, 31% from the field, 6.7% from three, 66.7% from the free throw line, 3.2 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 2.8 turnovers, 1.6 steals, 0.2 blocks, and 1 foul every game. So as you can see by the stats, his assist to turnover ratio was pretty good for a rookie coming into summer league, almost 2-to-1. He didn't have that many turnovers compared to how much he had the ball. Now, the one thing was his shot was not falling in Vegas. And like I said, with these small sample size, you really can't get bent out of shape. Anybody who watched Kennedy Chandler as a prospect, you know that he was a pretty decent shooting prospect, even from three-point line. So that is not going to be an issue eventually. I think he's going to be able to shoot it. He's going to be eventual 38% free three-point shooter in the NBA. So I'm not really worried about that. The only thing that really worries me is his finishing on the inside. As in Vegas, it kind of took a step back, and I'm not sure if it was just his touch was off in Vegas or what it was, because he was in Utah, able to get into the paint whenever he wanted. And I think that is the positive to take away from this, is to have somebody off the bench, a change of pace guard that can get into the paint, wreak havoc, and he can defend his position. Even though he's 6'1"-ish, he is still a good on-ball defender, especially against other point guards. He should be able to put on some strength, some muscle, and be able to eventually get through screens and stuff like that, and eventually not be such a liability on defense. I don't think he'll be a liability at all. I think he'll be at least a neutral on defense, and I see him like somebody like Jose Alvarado, who's 6'1", also, who's the same size, same height, a little bit bigger because he's older, that's able to hold his own defensively. I eventually think Kennedy Chandler will be that, and he has the athleticism and the timing and the anticipation to be a playmaker on defense. And once he gets out in the break, he is a threat. So Kennedy Chandler, I would say, for somebody who was the 38th pick in the second round of the NBA draft, 19-year-old point guard, he had a pretty decent summer league to me. A lot of people were disappointed. I don't know what they expected. I think we are getting kind of spoiled as Grizzlies fans, having watched Ja Morant and Tyus Jones run point guard for the last 3 seasons. We're kind of spoiled. We've seen some excellent point guard play, and this is coming off, a decade of Mike Conley. So it's been a while since we've seen some terrible point guard play, except as Mike Conley's backup. So we're a little spoiled as Grizzlies fans. But let me know what you think of Kennedy Chandler's performance in the Summer League in the comments, and how do you think he's going to project as a future NBA player? Because I don't really think he's going to have that big a role as a rookie with the main team. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys at the